In our digital lives today, it feels like the line between what's real and, what's fake is getting blurrier all the time. How do you actually know, fundamentally know, if what you're seeing or hearing online is genuine? Today, we're taking a deep dive into something pretty profound, maybe even a bit chilling. It's this huge shift in cybersecurity, the rise of AI-powered deception. And we're not just talking simple scams here. We mean hyper-realistic deepfakes, incredibly sneaky social engineering attacks, stuff that could fool almost anyone. So our mission today is really to unpack how these new threats actually work. Who are they targeting? And probably most important, what can we all do, like concrete steps to protect ourselves, our families, our organizations? We've got some fascinating sources to help us dig into this. It's a complex area, but vital. Now, before we really jump in, just a quick word about a resource that feels especially relevant right now, our sponsor. For some really essential insights on protecting your own digital footprint, do check out www.myprivacy.blog.
They're a fantastic resource for understanding and boosting your personal privacy in this, complicated digital world. Okay, so AI making up reality. It sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But it's happening now. To really get a handle on this, let's start at the beginning. What exactly are these deepfakes? And how is AI changing the whole landscape of digital deception?
Yeah, it's a great question. And what's really striking is how AI has just transformed the game, made something really difficult into something almost commonplace now. Deepfakes, essentially, are AI-generated forgeries. Hyper-realistic video, audio, making it look like someone said or did something they never did. They use advanced machine learning, particularly things called generative adversarial networks, or GANs.
GANs, right. I've heard that term.
Exactly. And the real threat here, the insight, is that this tech is becoming super accessible. It's scalable. It's not just Hollywood anymore. It's tools you can find, download, use, which makes spotting the fakes, just with your eyes, incredibly hard, even for people who know what to look for. And this AI capability, it then turbocharges the old tricks, like social engineering.
Ah, right, like phishing emails.
Precisely. Phishing used to have giveaways, bad grammar, weird phrasing, obvious stuff sometimes. But now, AI crafts these perfect emails, grammatically flawless, culturally spot on. It can even mimic someone's specific writing style.
Wow.
Yeah, and it'll reference real things like ongoing projects, maybe recent company changes, just to build up that credibility. Studies are actually showing these AI-generated phishing emails. They work way more often than the old manual ones.
So it's moved beyond just obvious fakes. Now it's subtle, it's targeted, it's incredibly believable. It sounds like anyone could get tricked. What's the most surprising way AI makes these things believable, maybe beyond just perfect grammar?
Well, that's a really good point, because it's not just about the words themselves. It's psychological. AI can sift through huge amounts of text data to learn someone's tone, their specific word choices, even their conversational habits, and organization's habits, too. So it's not, "Dear Sir Madam," it's more like, "Hey, Bob, just following up on our chat about Project Alpha, can you quickly approve this invoice?"
That sounds much more real.
That mimicry, plus maybe a little bit of AI-generated regency, it makes it incredibly hard for a person to spot without specific training. Turns a nuisance into a really sophisticated threat, even for people who are normally very careful. And it's not just text. Voice cloning, it's incredibly advanced now.
Oh yeah, I've heard some examples. It's uncanny.
It really is.
Yeah.
Modern systems might only need, say, a few minutes of clear audio, sometimes even less. And they can create these replicas that fool your ear, and even fool standard voice recognition systems.
Seriously?
Seriously. And they can simulate emotions, too. Urgency, maybe frustration, sounding like they have authority. It makes the request super persuasive. And the speed, the latency in creating these deepfakes, it's dropped like crazy, from seconds down to milliseconds.
No, seconds. So
yeah.
Real time.
Pretty much. Real-time manipulation in video calls. That's a practical reality now.
Wow.
Think about it. You could be on a live video call, maybe with your CEO. You think it's your CEO, but it's an AI facade. Which, raises that huge question. If you can't trust what you see or hear, how on earth do you verify anything?
That is a terrifying question. It feels like it could just break down all digital trust. Is there any, upside? Any beneficial uses for this tech? Or is it just destructive in practice? Feels pretty malicious right now.
Well, people talk about potential good uses. Maybe in entertainment. Education, like historical reenactments. But honestly, The overwhelming reality we're facing today is its misuse. And as the fakes get better, the ways attackers build fake people get better too, which leads to synthetic identity deception.
Synthetic identities, like totally made up people.
Exactly. Attackers create these entirely convincing false personas, plausible professional profiles across LinkedIn, Facebook, industry forums, wherever. They'll have AI-generated profile pictures, active posting schedules, a whole history.
So they look totally legit.
Completely. Which makes it incredibly hard for those know your customer systems, the KYC checks, to spot fraud. Because these aren't just one-off fake accounts. They look like real, persistent digital identities.
Okay, this is where it gets, really interesting, maybe pretty alarming too. Because the impact here, it's not theoretical. It's not down the road. It's hitting businesses, individuals, even national security right now. Real consequences.
Absolutely right. And a major concern is how they're targeting corporate executives directly. We're seeing a big jump in these impersonation attacks against senior leaders. Often the goal is getting access to their home network, maybe pivoting to the corporate systems.
So it's not just about tricking them into sending money.
Not always. Sometimes it's access. But it also puts the executives and their families at personal risk, which really raises the stakes. There was that case back in 2019. A UK energy company, they got tricked out of US $243,000.
Wow. How?
Deepfake audio. It perfectly mimicked the voice of the German parent company's CEO, demanded an urgent wire transfer to Hungary, and the money, poof, moved quickly to Mexico, other places. Very hard to trace. Shows you the speed, the international scope of these things.
That sounds like a really sophisticated operation. Are we talking state actors, big crime groups? Or is this tech now so easy anyone can do it?
And that's the problem, really. Yes, organized crime, state groups, they're definitely using it, but the tech is getting more accessible. So smaller groups, even individuals with bad intent, can now use tactics that used to be, only for the big players. There was a recent study. It found something like 40% of security pros said their execs were targeted by deepfakes this year.
40%. That's huge, up from last year.
Yeah, up from about a third in 2023. So a significant jump. Impersonating trusted contacts to ask for money or secrets, it's becoming really common. And we've seen more focus on execs after things like the tragic killing of the United Healthcare CEO, Brian Thompson. It really highlighted executive vulnerability. What's also worrying are these websites popping up, names like Luigi Was Right or CEO Database, just compiling executives' personal and business info.
Oh, it's not good.
No. That data becomes fuel for hackers, lets them craft even more personalized, more believable attacks. It's sobering. And beyond the execs, the wider business impact is just staggering. Business email compromise, BEC scams, AI makes them so much more effective. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, the IC3, they consistently say BEC is a top issue, and now criminals are layering in deepfake voices, AI impersonation. It adds this whole new level of credibility.
Makes it harder to dismiss that urgent request.
Exactly. Investment fraud is another huge area. Scammers use these synthetic personas, fake credentials, sometimes even AI-generated execs in video calls.
Video calls, wow.
Yeah, to pitch these elaborate fake investment schemes, especially big in crypto scams.
Yeah.
People lose substantial amounts. We're also seeing attacks on supply chains, using deepfake messages to redirect payments, maybe change delivery info, hijacking logistics, and market manipulation, too. Yeah. Spreading false info like a fake announcement from a CEO or a financial analyst generated by AI to look real. It can actually move markets.
This really touches everything. What about on the personal level?
Yeah, personally, identity theft is getting way more complex. Attackers aren't just stealing your data anymore. They're using these advanced synthetic identity techniques. They blend real stolen info with AI-generated bits to create what some people call Frankenstein identities.
Frankenstein identities.
Yeah, totally new but believable personas that can actually fool verification checks. Reputational damage is also massive. We've seen high-profile deepfakes targeting famous people, executives, making them seem to say awful things or behave badly.
And trying to debunk that must be a nightmare.
Almost impossible sometimes. It causes huge damage. And all this fake stuff floating around, it just erodes public trust in any digital information. People are getting skeptical, taking extra steps to verify things, which is good, but it could also slow down things like e-commerce, remote work, if trust breaks down too much.
The sheer scale of these threats really drives home how crucial it is to protect both your personal and your company's digital privacy. It's not just data, it's your identity. And that brings us back perfectly to our sponsor, www.myprivacy.blog. They really offer valuable, practical resources to help you navigate this this complex environment and protect your sensitive information. Definitely worth checking out.
That's a great point. And this erosion of trust, it hits democracy too. Think about election interference. AI can power these super targeted disinformation campaigns tailored for specific groups of voters. Especially dangerous are those last-minute campaigns right before people vote designed to just sway enough opinions. It's a serious threat to fair elections.
Yeah, you can see how that could work.
And finally, there are the big national security implications. Foreign governments using generative AI for massive influence operations, creating culturally spot-on, grammatically perfect content across tons of platforms, looks authentic, subtly shapes opinions. Critical infrastructure power grids, water systems, transport, they're being targeted more by social engineering that uses AI-generated content. Stuff that references internal systems sounds really knowledgeable and legit.
Makes the attack seem like it's coming from the inside.
Exactly. We're even seeing potential for military deception. Synthetic audio impersonating commanders. Fake video briefings designed to sow confusion, misdirect forces, and imagine fake statements made to look like they came from diplomats could trigger a real geopolitical crisis based on pure fiction.
Okay, this paints a really challenging picture. It feels a bit overwhelming. So the huge question for everyone listening is, how do we actually defend ourselves? How do we build resilience against the threats that are so advanced, so fast-moving? It sounds daunting, but I assume there are things we can do. Real steps.
Oh, absolutely. It's not insurmountable. We shouldn't feel helpless. There are definite strategies on multiple fronts. On the technical side, AI-powered detection systems are getting really important.
So using AI to fight AI.
Exactly. These systems are specifically designed to spot AI-generated content, deepfakes. The best ones look at multiple things at once, like language patterns, metadata hidden in the file, visual artifacts you might not notice. They often combine different detection methods to be more accurate, and crucially, they keep learning, trying to stay ahead of the fakes.
Okay, that's encouraging. What else technically?
Well, the basics are still absolutely fundamental. Multi-factor authentication, MFA.
Good old MFA.
It's your first line of defense, truly. Something you know, something you have, something you are. It just blocks so many account takeovers that rely only on stolen passwords. NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, they emphasize how much MFA reduces risk. And for really critical systems, adaptive MFA is even better.
What's that exactly? Is that the thing where it checks your location or?
Yeah, precisely. It looks at the context.
Yeah.
Where are you logging in from? What device is this typical behavior? And it might ask for more proof if things look unusual, adds layers. Beyond that, we need solid verification protocols, especially for anything high stakes. Big money transfers, critical commands. You need formal, out-of-band verification, meaning don't just reply to the email or call the number in the email.
Right. Use a known contact method.
Exactly. Call a number you already have on file. Use a different channel entirely. Things like digital signatures, watermarking, they can also help. Provide cryptographic proof that a message is authentic or forensic proof if it's been tampered with. And behavioral analysis systems are useful too. They learn normal communication patterns, then flag things that seem weird. The language is off, the timing is odd, the request deviates from standard procedure, spotting anomalies.
So tech helps, but it sounds like people and process are still huge.
Absolutely vital. Organizational approaches are key. Awareness training first off. Employees need to learn how to recognize AI fakes, and the training has to be realistic, use relevant examples, and be ongoing. Little micro-learning sessions, maybe?
Not just a once-a-year thing?
Definitely not. And maybe simulated phishing attacks using AI-generated emails, so people learn in a safe space. Then there's process engineering. Designing workflow so sensitive actions require multiple checks, multiple approvals, like separating who requests a payment from who approves it.
Holding in those human checks.
Right. And clear communication protocols. Establish how unusual or high-risk requests should be verified, preferably using different channels for the request and the confirmation. Email request, phone call confirmation, for example. You also need specific incident response plans just for these AI-driven attacks. Who has the authority to halt a process if a fake is suspected? Practice these plans with the simulations. And finally, sharing threat intel. Being part of industry groups helps everyone spot new attack patterns faster and react quicker. It's a collective defense, really.
And what about the bigger picture? Policy, regulations?
Yeah, that's important too. We need things like authentication standards for digital content, frameworks to help establish trust online. We definitely need legal frameworks that specifically address misuse of synthetic media, AI fraud, to create real deterrence. Platform responsibility is another big one. Getting social media companies to detect and clearly label synthetic content. More transparency helps reduce the impact. And just continuous investment, funding research into defensive AI and fostering international cooperation because these threats don't respect borders.
That makes sense. It's a multi-layered approach.
Yeah.
But this isn't just for big companies, right?
Yeah.
For the average person listening, what's maybe the one key takeaway, the immediate thing to do or remember?
Oh, you're absolutely right. It applies to everyone every single day. For the average person, honestly, it's about strengthening the basics and tuning your skepticism meter. Use strong, unique passwords. Turn on multi-factor authentication wherever you possibly can, bank accounts, email, social media, everywhere critical, and just cultivate a healthy dose of skepticism. If you get an unexpected request, if something seems too good to be true or maybe too bad to be true, pause, verify. Question it. Use a different method to check if it's real. Your own critical thinking is still, honestly, your best firewall.
That's an excellent point. Pause, verify, question. Good mantra. So we've covered a lot today. The really quite chilling evolution of AI-powered deceptions, huge impact across the board, businesses, individuals, national security, and these crucial multi-layered defense strategies we need. Tech, people, policy.
Yeah, and if you sort of connect it all, the big picture is, well, technology is driving these threats forward at incredible speed, but technology also has to be part of our defense. But the human element, maybe surprisingly, it's still central. We're the main target, yes. But our ability to think critically, to question, to verify, that remains our most important defensive asset.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. In a world where that line between genuine and synthetic keeps getting harder to see, how will you choose to authenticate your own digital reality? Remember, staying informed, staying proactive, that's really key here. We hope this deep dive encourages you to reflect on your own digital security practices, and maybe those of your workplace too.